So Devin White has requested a trade. If I was Howie and the Eagles and I could do it for the right price, I would jump all over this. Dallas still stinks. You're by the way, Dingbat here. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're hanging in there. So Devin White has officially requested a trade from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know a better team than the Philadelphia Eagles, a better GM than Howie Roseman, to go out and acquire a player that will come in and immediately help your team. Okay, I know he would instantly help this defense that lost players, this past offseason. Devin White to Philly would be amazing under certain circumstances. Now, we're going to get into it in a second, but before we do that, if you're new to the channel and you like the content, make sure you hit that like button. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the most censored, the most throttled, Eagles content creator and all of the internet. And if you've been subscribed for a while, I just want to say thank you so much for all the support you give to me. It truly, truly means a lot. And I'm going to ignore you, cat. Stop meowing. This cat wants to talk because I'm talking. It thinks we're having a conversation. I don't know. Maybe it's a fan of Devin White coming to Philly. All right, but breaking today, and this has been a talk for everybody out there. Everybody's talking about this. I'm getting DMs I haven't even got a chance to get to yet, and it's all about Devin White. Dov Kleeman wrote, breaking, Pound Buccaneers linebacker Devin White has asked to be traded per ESPN. At Jenna Lane, ESPN. We kind of knew there was something up right before free agency or something when he, because he was going into his fifth-year option. There was some stuff that he had tweeted that made it sound like he could be asking for official trade, but nothing ever came of it. Now it has. And listen, Devin White is a good player. You're talking about a guy, in the last 3 years had over 100 total tackles, easy, over 120 total tackles, I think, each of the last 3 seasons. Devin White, 6 foot, 237 pounds, only 25 years old. Let me say that again. He's only 25 years old, 73 solo tackles, 5.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles last year. Now, Devin White is a player. He would instantly come to the Philadelphia Eagles and instantly help. And you could have a nice little rotation at linebacker with him, Nakobe Dean, and Nicholas Morrow, who I think is going to be a player for the Eagles. I'm really, really high on Nicholas Morrow. But if you got Devin White, it would be unbelievable. So, in my opinion, my own personal opinion, and I got to clarify, there's a difference between what I'm going to say my opinion is and what I think the Eagles will do. My opinion sometimes is one thing. Howie Roseman, what I think he'll do is something else. So I'm going to tell you both of them what I think. All right? I personally would go after and try to make a move for him. I think this would be a great idea. I think you got to look at last year and you look at what the Eagles did with A.J. Brown, right? They used one of their first-round picks, got a veteran player in to come in and help right away. That was a big thing for the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles don't go to Super Bowl if A.J. Brown's not on that team. So it really helped them last year. You have 2 first-round picks this year. I'm not saying you should give us 2 first-round picks this year for Devin White. I wouldn't give 1 first-round pick for Devin White. I'm not going to do that. And I know the Eagles wouldn't do that. But I think something like a 3rd-round pick, if you can trade for him for a 3rd-round pick for 1 year, I think he could come in and be part of the rotation and help this team try to get back to the Super Bowl. We have talked so much about this team and trying to build for the future and try to win next year, right? We have seen a lot of moves to help the defense next year, and we've seen the way that the Eagles have let players go for compensatory picks. We know they're going to use the draft to rebuild their defense over the next few years. But what are you going to do? How are you going to be better next year? How do you get back to the Super Bowl? If you could go and bring in Devin White, who would come in right away and start, you would help yourself next year. Now, some downsides to this are this. He hasn't been good in pass coverage. Last year he gave up, I think there was quarterbacks had a over 120 rating, quarterback rating throwing at him. So he wasn't great in pass coverage. However, he is young, and maybe a change of system, maybe that would help. The other thing is maybe Nakobe Dean would lose playing time because of it. That could be another issue with it. Me personally, I would do it for like a third-round pick. Okay, and I have 2 first-round picks. I could take that 30th pick. I could trade back into the second, get more mid-round picks, use that third, go ahead and bring him in and have an instant. I would all of a sudden really, really like our linebacking situation with Morrow and White if he was there for 1 year. Now, he's due like $11.5 million. I'm sure the Buccaneers would have to eat some of that. The Eagles are about $21 million, I think, under the cap. $20 million, somewhere around $21 million under the cap. They could afford it. They could afford it. Now, me personally, after I bring him in, I don't know that I'm re-signing him. That's going to be the only thing. And that may be the giant hiccup in this whole thing. Because the Eagles are not going to pay linebacker a ton of money. The money that Devin White wants, I don't know that the Eagles would pay. I don't remember the Eagles paying a linebacker like Devin White. When's the last time they paid a linebacker? Even when they've had good linebackers. I mean, even go back to Jeremiah Trotter. We could go back, way back to Trotter, right? Trotter, one of the better linebackers in the league. Eagles franchise tag. Then, like, they franchise, like, a couple weeks later, they remove the franchise tag. He goes to Washington. He came back to Philly, but he came back to Philly after he was injured, and he kind of took less to come. I don't ever remember the Eagles investing in linebackers to the point that to the point of the investment you would have to make for Devin White. But if I could get him for at least 1 year, and listen, you may not be able to even trade Devin White or trade for him unless you redo his contract. That may be true. And if the Eagles want to give him a 3-4 year deal, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I think Devin White would help this team immediately. And it's my theme of this all season is how do you not just build your team for the future, but how do you get back to the Super Bowl? I won't go back to the Super Bowl. I don't know. The way I hear people talk about the draft and why I'm on the opposite side of so many people in my opinions of the draft is because I'm looking at a team that could go back to the Super Bowl if you do the right things. People want to play games with guys who are going to need 2-3 years to develop. I'm trying to win a Super Bowl this year. Devin White helps me get back there. Definitely helps you get back there. Because I think Devin White and Morrow are actually an upgrade over TJ Edwards and Kaiser White. Right? And Nakobe Dean's second year. So I would actually think that your linebacking spot is actually better than it was a year before when you went to the Super Bowl. I can deal with that. You see, that's why I like getting an offensive lineman in the first round of 10. Somebody I can stick right at right guard. I have no problem with it. Why? Because it helps me next year. I'm all for building for the future, but I'm also for trying to go back to the Super Bowl because we just lost the Super Bowl by 1 series. We get that ball back, we win. We win. But we didn't get the ball back. And we got to go back and finish the job. I don't want to wait 2-3 years. So that's why my theory on the draft doing things a certain way is differently than a lot of people. Because I'm not looking at it from 2-3 years down the road. I'm looking at it from a now perspective. Okay? And Devin White would help you now. I'm all for that. We have a 4 to 5 year window. That's how I see it. A 4 to 5 year window. And you got to get guys that come in and can help you in that window. Okay? Me, all while building for the future. I'm all for building for the future. But I think you can do both at the same time. Devin White may provide the Eagles a absolutely 100% fantastic opportunity. And I think the Eagles should jump on it if they can. Now, will the Eagles, and this is the question, will the Eagles go out and try to trade for Devin White, a linebacker? To me, it would be absolutely, utterly shocking. It would be more shocking than taking a running back in the first round. It would be shocking because the Eagles don't like to pay linebackers. And if they did get Devin White, it would probably only be for 1 year. I don't know that they would redo his contract because the Eagles do not pay linebackers. That is just how they value players. So, do I think this is something the Eagles would do? No, I don't, because I don't think that the Eagles like to invest in linebackers. Although I think this is a great opportunity, and I think that sometimes you have to take your narratives, the same things you constantly do, and you don't always have to be black and white with it. You don't always have to say yes or no. There are times where you can say, you know what, this is a different circumstance. Hey, listen, this is a young linebacker with a lot of talent. Not every day teams at 20, when he's 25 years old, want to trade him. Let's jump on it. I think the Eagles need to be able to have that approach at times, especially when you're a Super Bowl team with a top 10 pick, with 2 first-round picks, and the ability to go back. I think sometimes you got to be aggressive and be able to adjust to take advantage of opportunity. This is what Howie talks about. He talks about, we're not going to do what the other teams always do. We're not going to follow the old sayings of what everybody does. We're going to be the leaders of what dictates to what the NFL teams do. That's why you draft number 5. That's why you trade for Devin White. There's so many ways the Eagles can go here, but I still think they need 2 impact players out of this draft, and one of them could be had in a trade. I'm all for it. It worked for them last year. It could work for them again. Just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. Of course, don't be a dingbat. And remember, it's Howie Vision. We're all just living in it. And don't think I forgot, just because I don't have the Draft 5 hat on. Draft 5 hats, make sure you haven't pre-ordered yours. Well, hopefully we'll be starting to ship them out pretty soon. You guys definitely want to get it, especially if you want Bijan Robinson to come to Philly. I have never been more behind a player coming to Philly than I am right now. He would be the perfect guy. So if you guys are with me on that, and you want to draft number 5, get your Draft 5 hats. That way on draft night, you can be wearing them with us when we're streaming the draft, minute by minute, second by second, the whole entire draft. Philly Shakedown Podcast. Don't want to miss it. Denzel Washington is out.